Welcome back to the channel, guys. Aaron here with Off the Scales Fishing. And it's that time again. Top 5 baits of July. Let's talk about it. Well, July is upon us, guys, and I'm going to give you guys the best baits to catch them in the hottest months of the year. I think we're going to kick things off with a crankbait, and I'm going to give you guys 2 colors of basically, as far as my soft plastics that I like the most, that I think shine the best in the summertime. But first and foremost, we're going to kick things off with the crankbait. And you guys know as well as I do, these fish are getting deeper and deeper and deeper as this water temp rises and as it gets hotter. So one of my favorite crankbaits to target them pretty deep is the Azuma Z-Boss 22. This thing will dive 22 feet on 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon. It's a pretty big crankbait. But man, this thing's got a fairly tight wobble to it. It'll run true. I love this crankbait a whole lot. I've caught some pretty good sized fish on it. And if I'm not fishing that, I'm definitely going to be fishing that Tactical DD crank 75. I really like this color right here. It's that summer color. It's got some glitter on the side. These things, they also run really, really true. Great crankbaits for deep diving. That right there is probably my all-time favorite summer technique as far as catching them deep is deep cranking. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of rods and reels and stuff to fish these on, because I've already kind of covered that in numerous videos if you guys want to go back and check those out. But that's my #1 technique as far as my top bait in July. But here's one that's just an absolute killer for you guys, and that's going to be your Wobble jig heads. And I fished a specific bait on them that just does really, really good on them. I think probably overall the best action, and I'm going to give you guys 2 of the best colors I think to fish them on. And these kind of go hand in hand with the crankbait, because 9 times out of 10, if they're not eating the crankbait, you're going to fish these wobble heads very, very similar to how you're going to fish a crankbait, and that's going to be bottom contact. So you're going to want to try to grind these bills of these crankbaits, and the wobble head is no different. Both of these baits, you're going to make a super, super long cast, and you're going to try to keep bottom contact. As far as the weights that I fish, I keep it super simple on my wobble heads, either a 1/2 ounce or a 3/4, depending on what depth you're targeting these fish at. But like I said, this is by far and away my favorite crawl to fish on these wobble heads. These things got unbelievable action, and the adrenaline crawl comes in a 3.5 and a 4.5. And the 2 colors that I like the most is got to be this TW Dark June Bug color here. And then I also will use this green pumpkin with some blue flake in it. X-Zone makes a lot of awesome baits, and this adrenaline, I actually got 2 X-Zone baits for you guys in this video. But yeah, I mean, ways you're gonna fish this: make a super long cast, let it go to the bottom, and you're just gonna reel and try to feel bottom contact, and this thing is just gonna do its thing on the bottom. You want to look for hard bottom, or rocks is even better. Crawling this thing across the rocks, letting that wobble head do the work, and these flappers are going to do their thing, man. And all you're looking for is a tick. You know, when you feel that tick or that bump, man, you know they got it, because they come to crush this thing. This is a big bass summer technique. A wobblehead is super, super hard to beat. You know, and like I said, just fish it like your crankbait and just wait for that bump or that tick, man, and I promise you they got it. You know, as far as the rod that you want to fish this on, because, you know, it is a deeper technique and you're going to want a really good hook set. If you guys got, you know, any kind of heavy, but you still got some tip to it, like a 70-30, or, you know, and I suggest, you know, as far as rod length, anywhere from like a 7.4 to like a 7.6. You know, so you're heavy, any of your heavies, but you still got a good tip or a medium heavy action that, you know, when it comes time to set the hook, you know, you're really going to want to swing into them with this technique, because anytime you guys are fishing deeper water, you know, you're going to want to try to set that hook that much harder. So, but, you know, these dirty jigs, wobbleheads are, you know, they tend to get them pretty, you know, they you know, as far as hook penetration, you know, they tend to get them pretty good. So the crankbait and the wobblehead go hand in hand. So, you know, you guys definitely try that out. If they're not biting the crankbait, go to the wobblehead and fish it almost identical. And then, you know, I'm going to switch over from there. My third technique, and another technique I just absolutely love, is fishing the big worm. Just like on previous videos, you know, the chatterbait fishing stayed on my videos from, you know, mid-March or March, April, May. You know, for 3 months in a row, I had the chatterbait on my top baits, and then that thing tends to die off about late May or June. When these fish, you know, are done spawning and they start moving off, is typically when that chatterbait bite would die off, and that's when I start switching to the big worm. You know, like I said, your crankbaits or your wobblehead. But I got two specific colors for you guys in the big worm, and you know, that's going to be your X-Zone 11-inch blitz worm, and I'm going to fish, like I said, two different colors right now, and that's going to be plum with a blue flake in it. Man, this is just an awesome worm. This is just a little bit different from the other worm I'm going to show you, the old monster that I've talked about in previous videos. But this worm is an absolute killer. It's got a flat side to it, just a little bit different, and it's a little bit longer than an old monster. There's something real special about that plum with the blue flake in it in the summertime. Just an awesome freaking worm, man, right there. And then, you know, then you got your old monster. The old monsters, the specific color I'm going to throw in the summertime is either going to be June bug, or I also fish gooseberry, which is just kind of a darker June bug. I'm completely out of those because I wore them out pretty good on those. You know, I got to go get a pack, it seems like, at least once a week, because I go through those baits, you know, quite a bit in the summertime. And I really like this blackberry color as well in the old monster 10.5. So I'll let you guys look at it real quick. It's just an all black worm, and it's got just purple flake in it, straight up just purple flake. And I don't know what it is about these two colors, guys, in the summertime, man, but they just tend to get the bigger bites. They just do, just hands down, man. These colors just really do well in the summertime. I don't know what it is, but, you know, just dragging this thing along, you know, I'll fish it two different ways. Either I'm going to throw it on a Carolina rig, or I'm going to, you know, just put a typically like a 3/16 ounce tungsten, and I won't peg it. That's something I've talked about in videos too. If you guys know me, You know, 9 times out of 10, you know, when you're fishing this big worm, it's an open water technique. So, you know, I'm going to use that 3/16 because it can get down pretty deep. That seems to be about the perfect, you know, weight for this time of year to get down fairly deep. That's pretty much what weight I'll use all summer long is 3/16. So, you know, and then I won't peg that tungsten. I'll let it run free up and down the line like I've talked about in other videos. You know, because when that worm goes down and that weight goes down with it, that worm looks like it's chasing something. And you know, bass are very curious natured. I swear to God, I get more bites fishing it that way. Plus, it gives it more free range to do its thing, almost like a Carolina rig. You know, a Carolina rig is just going to give it that much more, you know, realistic action as well. So that kind of does it for the worms. You know, check these X-Zone and the Blitz worm plum with blue flake, and then, you know, June bug or that gooseberry color or this blackberry color. I promise you guys, these colors will get you guys some monster bites in the summertime, man. You just can't beat these colors in the summertime, guys. So I just absolutely love fishing the big worm. This, I'm not gonna lie, this worm's probably gonna stay on my my top of the baits, you know, for the next couple months until we start getting in that fall transition. And, you know, then that thing will start, you know, petering out a little bit. But those 3 techniques are my favorites, my very favorite for summertime fishing. And then, you know, of course, and then you got to have a topwater for the early morning or the late evening. You know, this time of year, typically they'll bite topwater best first thing in the morning or later on in the evening. And man, I've just been really starting to get into these wake baits. This is the Mike Bucca bull rat in the field mouse color. And this is just, man, this thing has unbelievable action. We just did a Tackle Tuesday drone video for you guys showing the action of some of these rats. And I actually went fishing this past weekend and I caught my first couple bass on the wake bait rats. This thing, like I said, it's the Mike Bucca bull rat, and it's got the screw-on tail. So they give you an extra tail in the pack, which is pretty cool. You know, this is a pink tail, as you can see, but you can absolutely use any kind of trick worm and cut that down, because all you do is literally screw it on. I mean, it's that easy. Screw it on and off. So when they start getting rashed a little bit, you know, just take that joker off, pop you a new one on, and you're good to go. The hardware, they got pretty good standard hooks as far as that goes, that they come on them. But I'm pretty anal about my treble hooks and stuff like that. I switch out all mine to those owner 150 pp owners trebles, and man, I did the same thing on this rat. I changed out my split rings and my trebles, and you know, I just you know, I just matched the size, you know, to where they're not going to get hung up and stuff like that. And then, you know, I tend to use a snap on all my crankbaits too, just to give it that much more free range. I do the same thing on my crankbaits. You know, it gives them a little bit more action. And then, you know, the best part about it is, you know, you can just swap them out. So if you find that you're getting more bites on one specific color, or you're not getting any bites, you can just simply swap these out, you know, fairly easy. So I really, really love that. But you guys go check out this Mike Bucca bull rat. And you know, something else I wanted to say, it seems like down here in the South, and I'm only speaking for us, you know, guys in the South, you know, as the months start to get warmer and warmer, it just seems like you can't get any wind in your favor. And you know, wind plays you know, a significant role in a lot of times when, you know, you'll get more bites when you got a little wind in your favor, because they just won't see these baits as well. But that's where this guy right here really shines, because he doesn't need any wind, you know, to do his thing. I mean, you know, those dead calm days or them hot days where you just can't get any wind, that's where this guy's gonna shine, because, you know, it's just gonna look, it's gonna have a better presentation with no wind, and these baits are just gonna fish better with no wind. So try these weight baits out in them dead calm conditions. Also, another tip, shade plays a big role this time of year. So, you know, when you're fishing these lakes and stuff like that, look for that shade, because that water will be just a touch cooler. And then, you know, it gives bass a great ambush, you know, place to ambush bait and things like that. So that's just a tip for you guys that don't know. So you know, look for them shaded spots. But you know, look, you know, as far as fishing this rat, look for any of those docks, you know, that anywhere that looks like a, you know, a mouse might live, or a rat or something like that. And you know, give that guy a shot. You know, make a cast right alongside a dock, you know, bring it right across that dock piling, or anywhere you guys can fish this thing that it's not going to get hung up. You know, would just be, you know, straight off the bank. You know, cast it and let that thing look like it's just coming right off the bank. If you don't have any, you know, any vegetation or weeds right there. And man, this thing, you know, is going to get some huge bites. I just know I'm going to catch a lot of big ones, you know, here soon, if I just, you know, fish this. So anyway, check that guy out. So my last bait for you guys, and it's funny because I always leave the finesse stuff last, because man, I'm just not a huge finesse fisherman. I'm just not, man. I'm more of a power fisherman guy. But you know, you always have to have it on the deck, you know, no matter if it's a drop shot or whatever the case may be. But you know, I'm going back to the hover stroll, no question about it. You know, the hover technique, bottom technique, mid strolling, whatever you want to call it. And you know, that's just something I really like to fish on a spinning reel when the bite gets really tough, or you see a whole bunch of bait, you know, up in the water column. This is just a great way to target them. So I've already been messing with the freeloader here. The Crush City freeloader is an outstanding bait, you know, on a ball head. You know, the 3/16 ounce is a magical weight for this technique, as far as getting that side-to-side roll action, and that's what you want. The 3/16, just like the that tungsten or whatever, will get you down pretty deep on a non-windy day. So that's just a great way to do it. But you know, one of the baits I've really been liking a lot here lately is the new cast bait. It's literally called Cast Finesse Sonar Bait, and that's the Echo. It comes in a few different colors, a blue herring color. That's what I have in my hands right here, and I got it on a VMC 5/16. And you know, that's just going to give me that roll action as well. It's a two-tone bait, just like you know, this gizzard shag color. These two-tone baits give off a little bit more realistic approach, or gives off a little bit more of a realistic look to the bass. I would definitely be fishing the two-tone baits. Those things tend to do a lot better and get you a lot more bites. There's a couple different other ways that you can rig this thing, but I'm just rigging it up on a ball head right now. But if you guys want, you can go on that cast video and check those out, and they put just a standard you know, ball head weight in there, and then they make a 90-degree line tie hook that there's like 3 or 4 different ways you can rig it, but you know, that 90-degree line tie hook that goes in there and it comes back a little bit further in the bait, and then that allows you to absolutely just burn that bait and it'll run true. So this is not only a great hover technique, you can actually burn this bait as well, and you know, it'll run perfectly true, and that's what's so great about this bait. So you guys check that one out. I did notice in this 5.4 inch is plenty finessey to fish. This 3.5 Echo, I'm having a really hard time. It's a little bit harder to rig because it's so small. So I'm not a huge fan of this. What I think this is going to do better on is going to be like a drop shot. This thing is going to be freaking deadly on a drop shot, I think. So I think that's what I'm going to fish it on, because it's really hard. I mean, that thing is tiny, and it's really hard trying to find a hook, or you know, it's just hard to rig. I mean, that's my only complaint about this bait. So I think I'm gonna fish this on, you know, like a drop shot. I think would be absolutely deadly. Oh, one thing I didn't talk about, there's a little glass chamber right here that goes in the bottom of the bait with some beads in it. If you guys can see that, it's a little glass chamber, and you know, that's going to give it a little bit of noise and going to help you guys, you know, help the fish get, and it just sits right in that belly right there, which is pretty unique. I haven't seen any other, you know, bait like that as far as when it comes to these, you know, these sonar baits or the hover stroll. So I think that's pretty cool. So that'll just give off a little bit more noise and attractant to for the bass to you know, to find that bait that much better. So so you guys check these out. This is definitely going to be, you know, the hover stroll. I mean, I don't even have to talk about it, man. This thing, you guys know as well as I do, unless you've been sleeping under a rock somewhere. I mean, that thing has just been an absolute, you know, fish catcher. So that's going to be my finesse technique for the month of July. And, you know, either that or a drop shot, you know, with that guy on it right there, or a tiny little minnow. So, yeah, and then one more tip for you guys. You know, yeah, it's starting to get hot, especially down here in the south. I have no doubt that it's starting to get hot, you know, up north, you know, out west, all over the place. But, you know, if I could give you guys one tip, probably the most important tip, you know, this month and going into next month, is just slow down, man. That's what it's all about this time of year. You know, this is a tough month to fish, no doubt about it, because of the heat. But if you guys get out there and fish these baits and slow down and fish these baits, you know, the way you should, it can be absolutely one of the most rewarding times of year as well. When you catch them, and you know, that's what it's all about, man, is catching them. So so you guys just slow down, take your time, work these baits slow, because even though the bass's metabolisms, you know, are high, you know, I feel like a lot of them already fed back up, especially the bigger fish. You know, they're gonna want bigger baits. They're gonna want, you know, they're gonna want these baits worked at the right pace, depending on the time of year. So, you know, keep that in mind, you guys, when you're fishing these. You know, just slow down, and it takes a lot of patience. But summertime is a grind, but it can make you that much of a better angler, you know, when you're tested, and you really have to slow down, and it'll just make you a better angler all around, an all-around better angler. So that's my tip for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope I could help you guys out with these baits. You guys definitely go try these out. Leave me some comments in the comment section and let me know how you guys are catching them. I love to hear from you. I would definitely you know, respond to your comments. Man, I can talk fishing all day. No question about it, and I love hearing from you guys. So if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel already, please do. You know, I'm out here, you know, working hard for you guys as always, and I appreciate you guys as always. And you know, we will see you on the next video. You guys have a good day.